God, I don't know what you did to everybody, but everybody backed up. You know, they're all out there. I'm really appreciative that so many folks are here, because I suspect that there are some of you out there who, when we said we're going to do a general plan for the city of Houston, put your head in your hands and said, again? We're going to talk about this again. That's one of the reasons why, interesting microphone here, that's one of the reasons why we gave you food and beverages and a band, so that you at least have a good time while you were here, even if you weren't really enthused about what we were planning. But we are planning. I have this problem everywhere I go. I travel across the United States and I talk about the city of Houston and our the great things that we're doing as the city grows and develops, and everyone shakes their head and they say, but Houston doesn't have zoning. Just because you don't have zoning does not mean you don't have planning. So I'm going to stop this. And we do a lot of planning in the city of Houston. The problem is that we don't always do an effective job of weaving the different plans together. And in fact, if you saw our press conference yesterday for the city of Houston, we're embarking on a cultural plan for the city of Houston. Debbie McNulty and Manette Basil are somewhere over here. We'll be directing it through the mayor's office, and I want, yes, give them some applause. I see David Robinson out there. So we do a lot of planning, but can we weave those plans together into a comprehensive whole that gets us not way out in front of the market, not prescribing and proscribing what we want to do, but moving us to the kind of city we really want to see in the future. This is about deciding what the city of Houston wants to be and how we get there. It's not about saying you can build this here and that there. It's much broader than that. It's about laying out the steps to achieve our future. Thank you. Thank you.
It was not helpful.
That wasn't helpful. Hello, that's better. Yay! But if Patrick Walsh may not know this, Pat may not know this, because I don't know how long he's been engaged in this aspect of the city of Houston, but some of us have been through a number of planning processes. I have an entire stack of Imagine Houston books from the early 90s. Anybody else out there who has those? Yes. Oh, y'all are the true believers, okay? But there have been other planning initiatives as well. What is different this time? Well, one, this is not a group of concerned citizens coming together and trying to persuade the city of Houston that this is the right thing to do. This is the city of Houston saying this is an important tool for future growth and development. This is the city of Houston making an investment in creating this tool for future growth and development. It is asking concerned citizens to be a part of the process, but not to drive the train. And the other thing that I think is fundamentally different is that Houston has changed so dramatically in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years. When we did the Imagine Houston process 20 years ago, we weren't the Houston of today. I see Dr. Kleinberg over there. I know most of us have seen your presentation. Just in the last 20 years, we have transformed ourselves. If we're the fastest growing city in the United States, and we have, or one of the fastest growing cities, and we have 3.5 million people who will be here over the next 20 years, we have to figure out what to do with them. And we have to do a better job of managing that growth. And so what we're doing is, as I said, working with community organizations and individuals that care about the planning process. And I want to acknowledge Blueprint Houston. And I know there's some Blueprint Houston board members out there, maybe, or supporters. Yes? Blueprint Houston is a nonprofit dedicated to the city of Houston having a general plan, and it has been pushing that initiative for a number of years. And I want to acknowledge Blueprint, and I want to acknowledge all the folks who raised their hands when I asked if you had been involved in the Imagine Houston process back from 93 to 95. But again, we don't want to have another plan or hours of community involvement and discussion and visioning that sits on a shelf. There is some strategy in the timing of what we're doing. Mr. Walsh said that we're going to kick off a year-long effort to create a plan that I intend to take to council next summer and hopefully get the support of City Council. But I know there's some folks in the room who are intimately aware of the fact that there will be a Houston election next year. There'll be a mayoral election, new mayor coming in, there'll be a number of new council members. We fully expect those of you in this room to make sure this becomes an issue in that campaign. We want to know what those future mayoral and council candidates feel about planning in the city of Houston. And we want to, and we're probably a little fast getting this out of the chute, but we're doing that deliberately. Pat's shaking his head, yeah, because I've been telling him there's some timing issues involved in this. We want to make this such a fact that no one can deny it, and it becomes an element in that mayoral campaign. A few points about what a general plan will allow us to do better than what we're doing. And I do hear from folks, well, the city of Houston, great things are happening in the city of Houston. What do we have to worry about? A general plan will allow us to coordinate better internally between departments. We have a master plan for parks. We have a master plan for libraries. We are creating a master plan for bicycles. We're working on a cultural plan. Wouldn't it be great if all those plans communicated with each other and the things that we develop in one plan had an impact on the things that we developed in those other plans? A general plan provides that the city, across all of the departments, also works together more seamlessly. Not about coordinating plans, but we all know what the plan is. And we're all moving and working toward the same goals. And having now been mayor of Houston for 4.5 years, a long time in office, 4.5 years, it's clear to me that this is a vast bureaucracy with a lot of moving parts, and it tends to go in all different directions at once. And one of the hard things for a mayor is to align the departments and get everybody moving in the same direction. And a general plan will help us do that. It allows us to become more proactive rather than reactive as we see the development patterns happening across the city of Houston. And it provides opportunities for partnerships and collaboration. We're always playing catch up. And the faster this city grows, the farther behind we get and the more catch up we have to play. And we are not the only entity in this space. And so having a general plan allows us to better align ourselves with the other government entities here in our sandbox. And frankly, if you've been paying attention, we are coordinating better than we ever have in the past. And there's some great things happening between the city of Houston and the county, between the city of Houston and our ISDs. Think what we can do if we really work to align our goals and objectives. And then finally, a general plan will ensure some consistency across changes in city leadership, most especially that transition that's going to occur next year. But the long-term planning of the city of Houston, one administration comes in, and instead of lurching in this direction and then lurching in that direction, we can more wind our way through a little bit more coherently. And so, it's not going to answer everything. It's not de facto zoning. We're not going to tell people what you can and cannot do. What we're going to do together is define what the future of Houston is 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and if we can think far enough into the future, 30 and 40 years from now, and figure out what we need to do on the ground to keep moving toward those goals. I think we have the perfect person in planning here in the city of Houston to help execute this. And I think we have the right timing, the right environment here in Houston, and an opportunity that we have never had before to create a general plan that is effective and, most importantly, is actually executed at the end of the day. So thanks for taking the time to be here. If nothing else, enjoy the food and the music, but be prepared, because you are here because you have been touched in one way or another in this process, and we have given you a heads up. We expect everyone in this room to be a part of the process going forward and to help us touch other people who aren't yet in the room. And I appreciate so much that you have overcome your fears that it would just be one more exercise in futility, and are here. And in order to make sure that it's not an exercise in futility, Pat Walsh, come talk about what we're actually going to do.